I want to talk about the FBI put out a terrorist warning for today, with the eclipse being today. Warnings of large gatherings, saying that they're becoming increasingly more concerned that what happened in Russia, that terrorists will be encouraged to do something like that on U.S. soil. Open borders have not helped the case, and the FBI has even put out warnings of potential sleeper cells being formed and listed the names of those cities spread across the U.S. And it's also believed that those cells are Hezbollah cells. And, there have been Hezbollah terrorists caught at the border trying to get into our country illegally. So who knows how many gotaways there have been. I mean, the FBI has even said that number can be in the millions, like 3 to 4 million over the last 4 years of gotaways, of people that slip through the cracks. I mean, there's not really slipping through the cracks when your borders are just full-fledged wide open like they are. But the FBI continuing to issue these warnings makes you think that these terrorist cells are waiting to activate together on one day. Because if they haven't done it there hasn't been much, like the FBI put out a warning on Easter saying that they expected terrorist attacks at churches and gatherings for Easter. There wasn't much didn't happen there, and much hasn't happened today yet. Fingers crossed nothing does. But, if those attacks aren't coming to fruition when the FBI is releasing those warnings, it makes you wonder if they're sort of collaborating to attack on one day, like to activate together. Because obviously the FBI is getting intel that they're planning attacks, and they're anticipating that, large gatherings like Easter or eclipse watching places, that those will be targets. But they're getting intel, obviously, that these terrorist cells are planning an attack, and they don't know when, obviously. And like I said, you have open borders to where they can come through and form these sleeper cells. You have no idea when they're going to activate. And with our disapproval in the Middle East, while also letting these terrorists in from those countries, if Iran launches an attack on Israel and decides to come at us too, they already have militants in our country, on our soil. It's not very smart to enable Iran while also letting them pour terrorists in through our wide open border. And like I said, with an Iranian attack looming within the coming days, who knows? Maybe they'll try to take us out too on top of Israel so that we can't support Israel fully. We got our hands full with terrorists running around wreaking havoc in our own country. I don't have to talk anymore about how stupid the Biden administration is, but if we let them pour through our borders while also provoking them in the Middle East, well, then they don't have to strike at us. They've already got soldiers in our country. And Hezbollah, they've already had their own terrorists caught at the border trying to get in, and who knows how many gotaways that there have been. Like I said, the FBI has said that those numbers are in the millions probably, but with the escalation in the Middle East, the chance of those cells just activating together across the U.S. and cities spread out the U.S., obviously that's not good. And, the FBI putting out these warnings, clearly they're getting intel that these groups are planning an attack on U.S. soil. And they're assuming that large gatherings like with the eclipse and Easter, like I said, that they would do it then, but that clearly shows that they have no idea when they're going to do it. They even said in the warning on Easter that they have no idea where or when, but they expected terrorist attacks to happen. How about that? They are expecting terrorist attacks to happen. And even if they're not, that just shows that, the intel is that they're planning an attack. And if they aren't happening when they think they're happening, then obviously the FBI is on a wild goose chase trying to figure this out. And they're not figuring it out. And if they all activate at once and they choose like one day we're going to activate all together, the FBI is behind the eight ball because they don't even know where or when these will happen. They're just getting intel that there will be an attack. So, like I said, when we continue to enable Iran while also provoking Iran and organizations like Hezbollah while having their terrorists behind our back on our own soil, then they don't have to launch an attack. They can just activate those cells, and there you go. That's all they have to do. I wanted to point out there was a pro-Palestinian rally here in the U.S. where they were chanting "Death to America." How about that? How about your own citizens chanting death to America in your own country. That not only shows the people that are here that don't like this country and that have come in through our borders, but it illustrates the potential of widespread attacks from within. Because you have these people spread out over the nation that hate America, they're chanting death to America. They want the United States to collapse. And like I said, with the escalation in the Middle East, that will only encourage the terrorists who are here, the people who go to rallies like that and chant death to America, to partake in jihad and just start doing terrorist attacks. And you have these cells around our country, potentially, I'd like to say potentially, but the FBI has pretty much said that they are. They're just waiting. They're waiting to activate, and they're waiting for one day to do it all together. So, Iran's not scared of us because obviously they already have people on our own soil, so that they know that they got us. They've lulled us to sleep, and all they have to do is one more step, and they got us. And we have nobody to blame but Joe Biden and his weakness shown towards Iran, along with the open borders, for this to happen. So I just really wanted to illustrate, the FBI is putting out warnings of these terrorist attacks. Obviously, they're getting intel of something, of a terrorist attack looming potentially. They haven't been right on when that will happen, but that obviously shows you that they're behind the eight ball on this. They don't have it under control. They don't know when or where these attacks are going to take place. They just know that one's going to happen eventually, or they're expecting it. And the FBI have testified to this in Congress, that the red flags of a terrorist attack are going off like never before. And mentioned that, before 9/11, there were these sort of red flags that they didn't catch. And in comparison to then, before 9/11, that these are way worse and more widespread throughout the country, not just an isolated incident in New York City. We got cells spread out among the nation. That's a problem because we're provoking countries in the Middle East. They've already got troops here, pretty much terrorists here to do their job for them without having to strike us. So I just wanted to illustrate it, not to scare you, but to alert you that, look, the FBI is obviously getting intel of something, and keep your head on a swivel and prepare to know that these open borders have let these terrorists in, and with tensions in the Middle East on the rise, and we haven't made any friends over there, that they could potentially activate here and start launching attacks here. Fingers crossed that doesn't happen, but we're being lulled to sleep by Iran, apparently. And, organizations like Hezbollah already got cells here just waiting for the call to activate. And the FBI is fully, they're admitting this in Congress. They're testifying to it. And it's not getting much headlines because, mainstream media doesn't want you to know, especially the ones supporting Biden. But, and even incidents like what happened to Laken Riley are happening, where these aren't cells activating. These are single illegal immigrants. I mean, these aren't even terrorists. Not let alone the terrorists that are coming through our border. Just the immigrants from these third world countries are doing crimes, and then we're letting them out on bail within a couple of hours later. I mean, you have illegal immigrants killing NYPD officers, and then they're out on bail a couple hours later, flipping off the cameras. They don't care. These are the people that we're letting into our country. Not only the terrorists, but these people from third world countries that are just coming in and wreaking havoc on our own soil, to our own people. You have nobody to thank for that, but Joe Biden.